Okay, so obviously this was going to be one of my more risque videos, and the YouTube algorithm really did not like did not like what I was talking about. So in order to pad things out for the first couple of minutes, I'm going to reorder some things, uh, and then have the demonetizable stuff happen after that. So if things seem a little out of order, that's why. After a short trek encountering nobody along the way, thankfully, you see a cottage in the distance. Smoke billows from the chimney slowly, a dim fire lit within. As you approach the front door, you hear a faint muffled voice. A man is speaking. You knock on the door, and the speech stops, only to be replaced with a fumbling of the lock and a louder, more resonant voice. I've been waiting. It was only a matter of time, they say, unfastening the final lock and pulling open the heavy oaken door. Now you can finally fulfill your destiny, ass. Who are you? The man standing in the doorway asks. Once his eyes fell upon you, you recognize him instantly, though he's aged years that have not been kind to him. He was a once tall, proud, handsome man. Now he's a tall, confused, kind of handsome-ish in an older way man, and he has clearly not been keeping up with the razor. You rally your resolve. I am the son of the hero that defeated. No, I want to do the Deku voice. I'm the son of the hero that defeated the Moon Lord, and you say. But he holds up his hand. Hold on, Moon Lord? Why does that sound familiar? He says, scratching his beard pensively. Big guy, elephant head, breathes pure dark flame. You deflate slightly. No, I think that was the Dark Lord, the Moon Lord. Could conjure spiders by blinking, right? 100 feet tall, body made of corpses, walls with legions of the damned whenever he spoke? No, that was Marquise of Death. If you were... Skeleton, big hand, spellcaster, huge fortress. Overlord. Lived in a place on the moon, big snake. Moon Serpent. But I'm getting closer, right? No, the Moon Lord terrorized our land for centuries. He destroyed our village twice. He killed your parents. Right, that guy. What about him? Nothing about him. My mother slew him and... You've come to collect. Every day, another poor scheme is knocking on my door and asking about a quest I put out years ago. Look, there's a statute of limitations on this stuff. I don't even have any more enchanted swords, so you'll have to settle for, like, enchanted silverware. I don't want that. I'm not here to collect anything. You taught my mother how to fight and to be a hero. I want you to teach me too, you say loudly and clearly. He pauses, clearly deliberating, even as he slowly closes the door in your face. Well, wait, I'll pay you, you say, jamming your foot in the door. What have you got? He asks, easing up, not letting you pull the door open any more than it already is. Well, nothing, but you exclaim as he kicks the toes of your boot in an attempt to dislodge it from the door. I'm tired of being paid nothing. Folksy wisdom doesn't grow on trees, you know. Take your poor lord, talk somewhere else and shove it. He finally kicks your boot free and slams the door shut. You stand dumbfounded, unsure of what to do next, but after a few moments, he opens the door. Oh, are you still there? I thought the encounter was over, he says, snatching his chest boorishly. Even if I can't pay you one day, you say, on the verge of tears as he sighs. One day you'll have a whole list of fantastic enemies, and one of them will slit my throat. In my sleep. Fine, I welcome it, he says, stepping aside to let you in. But you get one consultation, and I expect payment deferred. You enter the cottage, expecting to see walls lined with weapons, trophies from various evil beasts. Instead, you see tea cozies and tasteful wall rugs. I'm a retiree. I've got plenty of time to decorate, he explains before sitting into the well-cushioned armchair, oomphing all the way. So you've trained my mother, you say, keeping your feet full of determination, even as he gestures for you to sit down. Now I want you to train me. You were framed. You reaffirm, and he nods. What for? He asks, peering over his steeped fingers. What are you hoping to accomplish? You close your eyes. It's been so long. You were just a child then, but not now. To defeat who even my mother could not, you say, unwavering, unlike your voice. The dragon god, he says, disbelieving his tones, sitting forward in his chair. No, the demon king. Right, the demon king, he says, disbelieving tones, still sitting forward in his chair. Wait. Oh, I thought some, like, titties dropped when I moved the mouse upwards. That's Not gonna lie, that's not happening. Still, though, we all have dreams, he says, sitting back in his chair, his arms on the armrest relaxed. Worth a shot. As reassuring as his words are, you feel a hint of trepidation. You finally take his offer to sit, as he leans forward again to pour you some tea. You take the floral cup he offers you, and you sip it up. It's long cold. The fire is nearly extinguished. So you'll train me then? You ask, and he nods. Like you trained my mother! I wasn't your mother's trainer per se. I was a trainer, as she purchased my services once or twice. Once, he says, trailing off, as you feel your heart sink. But that still counts, right? Maybe without my help, she never would have killed the moon bug. Moonlord! What does this slider do? He ignites your correction. If I help her kill the Warm Lord, I can help you kill the Demon King, theoretically. Not a doubt in my mind, he says, although it's plain in his face that he is not doubting even the basic premise of what he's saying, even putting aside what he said earlier. You'll help me, even though I can't pay you? You say gracefully as he clicks his tongue. Don't have to rub it in. Yeah, I'll help you right now. Clock's ticking, he says, pointing to his clock piece standing against the wall, which is clearly broken. Do you really think if I start now I could maybe one day defeat the Demon King? You ask, trying to cling to hope. Let me think. She slew a great demon in a faraway land. Oh no, wait, that's all his quote. Let me do that one again. Let me think. She slew a great demon in a faraway land. What become of her afterwards? Few knew, not even her own son. That's you, right? Or do I have the wrong Dune Freud slaying mama? He says, apparently having finally recalled something about your mother and her story. You politely ignore his error and focus on what he's implying. My mother was great and powerful. I'm me, you say, dejected as he stands up. You're so surprised, you stand up as well, as he grasps your shoulders. Well, even she had to start somewhere. She didn't simply take up a holy sword, Ithril, and march off to defeat the Moon Lord half-cocked. She had to stab thousands of inconsequential slimes and fauna before that, he says, reassuring you. My mother didn't take up the holy sword of Ithril at all. That was her cohort, the paladin of Drepner, you say, rapidly running out of patience. Holy sword, magic bracelet, whatever. The point is that her magical items drop off of some less powerful creatures, and that the items she used to defeat those slums dropped off of even less powerful creatures, maybe even people. In a world where the only way to get more powerful is to kill and steal, you have to start small, he says, his eyes full of kindness. I don't know if I have that in me, you say, hesitance gnawing at you. That's horse manure, he says, slapping your shoulder painfully. If your mother could slay the Goon Lord, you can slay the Demon King. 50-50 odds at least. Probably, he says, waving his hand about non-committally. You think so? You ask as he admittedly takes a second to answer. You're your mother's son. I'm sure you can take life like the best of her. And if you can't, a few hours of bashing rats with a stick will get you up to speed, he says confidently. But first things first, you'll need to pick a class. You blink. A class? Like the remedial kind, or? No, he says, waving his hands dismissively. A hero class. You know, what defines you as an adventurer. It represents a lifetime of training, discipline, and learning, as well as your personal outlook, philosophy, and primary strategy. You're not along. Then shouldn't I have selected my class, like, a long time ago? You'd think, right? Anyway, just pick one. This is important, and you shouldn't be reckless choosing it. But I skipped lunch, and it's getting late, so, you know, he says, waving his hand along. I don't even know what the options are. You say already losing your nerve. Oh, for the love of... All right, here I am. Your glorified class selection menu. Let's move this along readily. Here we go, he says, holding his hands in an approximum of a rectangle. Warrior, he says out loud before pausing for effect. Warriors are martial adepts, boasting excellent fighting skills and physical fitness. This is an adventurer class, but the classics are classics for a reason. Awesome! Mom was really strong. I like it, you say as he scratches his chin, trying to avoid eye contact. Well, that's true, but it doesn't really suit you. Well, why do you say that? Why do you say I can't be a warrior? Well, Look at how you're fucking dressed. You showed up to my house dressed like that. What? You think you're gonna be a fucking warrior? You're like 5'2". You've got no muscle mass. You've got an ass bigger than like the entire female village. Every female. You ain't gonna be a fucking warrior. Shut the fuck up. Well, who's going to believe that someone that looks like you has a high strength score? Yes. So true. That's... And besides, everybody picks warrior. It's like vanilla ice cream. You don't want to be boring, do you? Even your mother was one. You've got to forge your own path. I guess you're right. All right, next, rogue, he said. This is again loudly, leaving an awkward silence lingering for a moment. Rogues are highly skilled, lightly armored combatants. They represent the cream of the crop in terms of their agility. They're masters, outmaneuvering their opponents and avoiding potentially fatal blows. Pretty nice, huh? Yeah, I could use 2 weapons and sneak behind enemies and kill them before they even see me. I wouldn't even have to be a good fighter. True. But you'd also have a bad reputation. Would your mother be really proud of her son? There's some other... I think this character's already got a certain reputation in town. Would your mother be really proud of her son become a world-class backstabbing murderer? No, I guess not. Fine. Next. Paladin, familiar, stalwart, holier than thee. Thou? Pardon? Holier than thou. That doesn't seem right. Really? I'm pretty sure if we go to the library, we can look it up. I mean, yeah, but I don't want to go all the way to the library just to see how people used to talk, he says, implying that it's a great waste of time. It just sounds weird as all you say. Anyway, paladin. Wouldn't the plural be paladin? Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up, hero. Paladins are resilient and heavy armored and capable of holy magics. Are you going to say something about how I spell magic? No, that speaks for itself. Again, I'll give you a sovereign if you shut up and let me describe paladin. Done! You received 1 golden sovereign, and so because of this, they are the most offensive class. For some reason, there is no playable cleric or healer class, so they are the only healers. They adhere to a strict code of ethics and are sworn in by vows to uphold law, no matter the circumstance. Are you prepared to take those vows? I'm more of a descriptivist myself, really. Ranger, as their name suggests, they're unparalleled at range combat. I could actually see you with a bow, he says, rubbing his chin under his head. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. It just seems like you'd be the type to wield a bow. Why do you say that? I mean, this dude has no upper body muscle mass at all. He's not going to be an archer. Because you're a... You know what? Never mind. I don't want to be a ranger ever would. Anyway, Mom never used a bow. Right. Mage. Mages wield the nature of magic itself against their foes, and their power is legend. But their actual combat, ability is without peer, because nobody is as bad as fighting as a mage. That's not like my mom at all. I'll pass. Phenomenal cosmic power or no? That's probably a good call. They're more of a party class anyways. You sigh. You wonder how many classes there are, and if it will really make a difference if none of them suit you. Maybe you should just be a warrior and try to make it work. He doesn't say anything for a bit. He looks like he's thinking about what? You're not sure. Enchanter. Enchanters can do just about everything. High-level enchanters are among the most powerful, revered of all adventurers. Their stats are what they can wear most of... Their stats are balanced, and they can wear most of equipment. They can use both light and dark magics. One of your mom's closest allies was an enchanter. Even... That sounds great! Alright, I'll be an enchanter! Just like that? You don't want to look at their... Alright, we're building the character... Oh, I guess the other classes are locked out. I'll be an enchanter. I have 1 stat point. They only have charisma. What do you mean their stats are balanced? I guess I'll do... What's perception? Your ability to see attacks the enemies as your basic scanning ability. I'll do magic. Alright, class selected. What's next? Well, you should get familiar with your character information screen. Why are my stats so low? They're balanced. Wait, my charisma's 7? What does that even do? Nothing. As far as I can tell, just each class has 1 high stat. Someone had to get the useless one. You said enchanters were really good. I said high-level enchanters are the most powerful among the revered. Level 1 enchanters are worse than worthless. Nobody takes them seriously. That's part of why the high-level ones are respected. It takes a special individual to make the crappy starting class into something worthwhile. Good luck! You feel numb. dumbfounded. Before you even know what's happening, you realize that he's led you to the door, where he then pushes you outside. Well, wait, what about my training? You ask defiantly. That was it. I just clarified as a class change. I'm just certified as a class change trainer. Never got my skills training certification. Bad grades. One time we snuck up on the top of the school and... That's it? What am I supposed to do now? You ask, sounding more petulant than you intended. Now, you're gonna want to get moving. 6 days from now, the mountain pass out this region is gonna be frozen over. Anytime you spent dwindling here... You really can't help me? Well, I could show you some basic sword play, but that's it. Take the crash course or we'll be here all day. I think even a single day would still be a crash course. Are you paying? No, don't think so. Fine though, a day. Max, pick your poison. We'll do a full day course. He sighs as you insist on your training. It's not an intensive course. He mostly just rattles of what comes to mind. Shows you how to throw a cut, defend against various attacks using footwork, your shield, and your own weapon. He has you do a few drills. But at the end of it, the sun has set and risen again, and you feel more confident, if only a little. You don't feel particularly prepared still. What now? Now, the first thing is getting supplies. Better visit the shop in town. You'll know which one. It's the only one. And if you need someone to teach you magic, since an enchantress is without magic is just asking for it, but it's magic, so I ain't gonna explain. Look, my tea's getting cold. Run along now. He slams the door shut. You feel different. Certainly more in tune with the flowing of the air around you, and looking at your hands, there does seem to be a noticeable change in your appearance as well. Supplies, he said. Well, the first things first, you suppose. This is the second thing. As you walk away from the cottage towards the village proper, you start to wonder. To slay the Demon King, what will really improve the lives of the people you care most about? You wonder. You can barely remember it, but you heard stories of what life was like under the Moon Lord's thumb. Assuming it had a thumb anyways. The threat of the Demon King, by comparison, seems remote. Well, your job as a village layabout has come to an end. Surely, if you can give back all of the people who helped and supported you, then is just what you're going to do. First, you set out for the village itself, knowing that the road to the Demon King's fortress is far in the northwest, beyond the mountains. While doubting, you take your first true steps in that direction, to your first home, Nadir, and then beyond. You gain 3 mana, 1 gold, 20 experience. You're now level 2. 6 hours have passed and you ate 24 apples. Let's start fighting some bad guys, alright? Welcome to Tales of Androgyny. Oh, I gotta move myself so you can read it all. Welcome to Tales of Androgyny. This is a beta build. Some assets and much of the story mode content are not yet in place, so please don't expect to be a full game experience. Create a character / adventure mode is a more complete start to finish story. If you encounter any bugs, please let us know. Leave a comment on our game page at itch.io. Send us an email at behinus.patreon@gmail.com or message us on Patreon. Thank you. If you're having difficulty with the game's mechanics, in or out of combat, please check the help menu at the title screen. Hit the escape key, PC, or the back button to return to the title screen. Here's a brief rundown of the combat mechanics. Hold the control key down on the skip button to skip the game mode selection. Combat is stat-based. The 3 core stances are balance, offensive, and defensive abilities that you can use to are determined by a stance, and using them may result in a new stance. For example, using spring attack in a balanced stance will leave you in offensive for the next round, and using block will leave you in defensive. Balanced stance is a stagging stance. Most abilities will move you into a new stance. It has a balance of offensive and defensive abilities. Offensive... Oh, I'm not reading all this. Alright, so we got create a character. And then we got story mode. God damn. We already gatting it up with this character. Holy shit. Alright, boys, we're gonna do story mode. We're gonna get the deep lore of Tales of Androgyny. You've entered story mode. This mode is still early in its instruction. Check out the create a character mode for the current content. A Tale of Androgyny has begun. All right, 2 seconds in, we already see biggest dickest, dot, dot, dot. The wind is warm and carries the smell of the sea and the smoke alike. Distant thunder. Oh, wait, that's not the voice I want to do. The wind is warm and carries the smell of the sea and smoke alike. The distant thunder comes not from the sky, but across leagues of the night black ocean. She peers over the void, shades of warm color hesitantly illuminating her, birthed by the fires that consume an ancient fortress as it burns in the night. The occasional burst of sound carried through the wind reaches her, miles away, when they reach a munition store or chemist laboratory or anarchist cache. Brick as old as time crumbles into the sea, the western battlements bleeding out sea-worn stone, smoke, and the crimson remains of the slain. She sips from her goblet, similarly sanguineous, and lets out a sigh. The moon has never seemed so full at night, as she muses herself, and yet his armies lay broken, his domain shattered, his very life she relishes, like the moonlight reflected in her dark, insubstantial, and soon to be gone forever. Because of her purple-stained red lips stretch into a fanged smile, and she licks her teeth in satisfaction. This, she thinks to herself, as the fires rage on, and the once great fortress sinks into a large part into the sea, is what victory tastes like. With that, she presses the goblet to her lips and tilts her head back, draining the last of it. The moonlight reflects off of her eyes, deep and red as her drink, but as bright as the fires blazing in the summer breeze. She stands gracefully from her viewing seat of the bone and casts the goblet into the abyss, feeling free and merry. She crosses her arms on her chest, grasping herself in excitement, her breath ragged and terse. She has a whimper, and it suddenly reminds that she is not alone to bask in this monument's occasion. There is also another. He was his lord's second in command, an effeminate youth who fell madly, brazenly in love with her, and who was instrumental in helping to bring about the night's key events. He has to be rewarded, she realizes. He was promised her affection, if only he turned traitor, and he performed his duties admirably, so she is in no position to refuse. She strung him up earlier in the evening, suspended from the trees above with a rope, each around his ankles and wrists, but when she approaches him, clearly drunk and eager to console, it pricks up immediately, even as he hangs there immobilized and naked. My, someone is eager, she says, flickering her well-manicured finger. I do believe it is time. She runs her fingernail up and down it as her hand roams down her body to the underside of her cold iron griddle, where his reward was rapidly growing into size, much to his ignorance. She walks away from him, taking a deep breath of the refreshing smell of sea salt and smoky oblivion, allowing him to watch her hips sway as she approaches the cliffside, where her viewing seat had been erected, and procures it from a flask of peculiar oil. She sits on her viewing seat, mostly out of his view, as she whines his complaints about the arrogant through his gag. From his vantage, he can see her spread her legs wide with her back arch as she holds the flask high in the air, and then tilts it, pouring it down onto herself. Indeed, she pours it directly into her griddle, where it sloshes over her awakening breasts while she moans in anticipation. With the flask empty, she lets it fall to the ground and rises to her feet, nearly done with her final preparations of the night. She turns to face him and begins unfastening her griddle so that evenly hinges open and then falls with heavy crash behind her. With the oversized moon at her back, he sees her silhouette in the perturbation is clear. Even then, a jet black object of some evil in size and evil shape, studded and flared, emerging from between her legs. It is slick with oil, and she grabs hold of the rope suspending his legs. It bobs ominously. He stares at it, transfixed, horrified. All that only to get dicked to the end anyway. I almost feel bad for you, she says, reaching down to stroke her black pitch phallus, which glistens in the moonlight as it sticks out from her body. Even as she tells this lie, she lines up to her position, his anus spread and defenseless by the distant ropes that hold on his legs apart. Her semen tanks are utterly full. She whined a long time. She waited a long time since she seeded her plan, and in all of the preparations and planning, she'd not seeded anything else. Unfortunately for him, she had also arranged to fix that as soon as her victory was assured. She grips his ankles firmly as she stares wide-eyed at the onyx that is pulsating with energy pressing up his spread hole. She eases her hips forward, slowly, more and more, as he groans into the gag, feeling her push more and more of herself into him. The monstrous, inhuman phallus stretches his insides in ways unthinkable, and his eyes, among other things, open as wide as they possibly can. She licks her canine tooth and peers deeply into his eyes. Tonight, she thinks, is a good night. Tales of Androgyny. Tales of Androgyny. Tales of Androgyny. Wow. Hell of an opener for a game. Wow, that was the most unique opener I have ever read for a game. It literally gave you like a whole last chapter of a book. And now we're here. Now we are at the main part of the game of the story mode. So it has come to this. The first fires of creation had died out, and all that remains are the embers and ash of what could have been greatness. It smolders blackened, like dying coal, spent of life. The tears fall, your shoulders tremble. What could have been has been undone, in all of the cosmos of infinite possibilities. A singular truth has been revealed, and it is this. Breakfast is ruined. You would toss the burnt eggs into the refuge pile that your shine rune metals inside. It has been almost 2 decades since the Moon Lord's defeat, and life in the outskirts of Nadir isn't great, but the constant raids by Moonmen have ceased, and the well water have never tasted less putrid. Just the other day, that girl from the village said your name, probably, and recently, all of those forays into the village library have proved fruitful. Not only have you gained useful knowledge to put your life into a peon into perspective, but you now know about the mating habits of ducks, and maybe they haven't been so fruitful after all. You glance down at the dribbling eggs. Is this all there is to life? Failing to accomplish basic tasks and waiting to grow old? No, that can't be it. You assure yourself, even at the last gooey yet burnt drippings of your failure slosh through the walls of dilapidated hut, you come home and into that same pile of ruined breakfasts where you keep your genetic legacy. There's one thing that separates men from beasts, and you feel it strongly. With renowned vigor, you throw open the door. Well, flop it to your abode and greet the sunshine of the day. It's so bright that it hurts your eyes, and you almost immediately give up. By the way, if you could not tell from the title of the game, yes, the main character, this is the main character, and yes, the main character is a man. But you don't, and that's what counts. For one thing that separates men from beasts, denial. First things first, you have to go to him. The man that's been waiting for you. The man that taught your mother. The legend of the nearby village, living alone in the cottage on the village outskirts. The place where your true destiny will first take root. You pack your things. There isn't much, and leave for the cottage on the outskirts. I should save. All right, so there's the cottage, and there's the wilderness. Let's check out the wilderness before we go to the cottage. Yep. Yeah, keep sucking, keep sucking. Oh no. How did it end up like this? Oh my god, my character's sucking dick in the corner. I'm gonna fucking nut. Wow. If you are watching this, I am replacing all of these scenes with really bad MS Paint drawings. You just wanted to be a hero, but you immediately lost, and take it right in your mouth. There's been a miscommunication. You had said that you were a hero and that you weren't just going to surface any random unwashed Bergadad, but you blundered into. But, well, she explained that this was a toll road and you had to pay the toll. No exceptions. So you paid it. The thing rampaging in your mouth, you know what it is. You're not doing much as to get it soft, as she is positioning it in and out of your face without a care in the world. The taste of her sweet pre-cum fills your mouth. The way that throbs makes it clear that wouldn't be all you taste. Your lips are barely on it when it finally does twitch, which puts it in a perfect position to make you taste it. 3 long sticky ropes blast out over your tongue before you can warn her that you're not a cum gargling slut, even if it feels like you are. It continues to fire all over inside your cheeks, your teeth. It's a bit of a mouthwash. You've never had your mouth washed out with soap, but now you've had your mouth washed out with semen. Your tongue is blasted with it, and the flavor is unavoidable. Goddamn, I'm already doing really bad in this game. I've already got fucked in the face. Thanks for the 3 blowy, hero. Don't know what I would have done without all that cock snot in my goons if you didn't come along. Her sperm slide tasted about as good as you expected. Maybe being an adventurer isn't all it's cracked up to be. Or maybe you're not really suited for it. You decide to retreat back to your hovel and make something of yourself while trying to stifle a burp. It doesn't taste like regret, but it's possible that regret is just saltier than you anticipated. If only you had gone the right way. Achievement unlocked. Wrong way. Took a wrong turn. Alright, game over. That is a very particularly animated game over screen.